Hi, and welcome to Coffee House Debate, Mucho Epic. I'm your host, Caesar Beccaria, and today we have a very special episode. One could even say that it's going to be Mucho Epic. For guest A, we have Gene Rousseau, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, and Mary Wollstonecraft. The first debate of the day will be between John the Strong Locke and Tom the Bomb Hobbes. Let's get right into it.
Thanks for having me, Beccaria. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having me too.
Yeah, I'm glad you could both make it. We're going to start off with a big one here, and I think everyone in the audience wants to know. What are your guys' own personal philosophies on the nature of mankind? And we'll start off with Locke here.
My personal philosophy on mankind before society had changed us is that people lived in freedom and inequality, opposed to Sir Hobbes's idea of living in a world of greed and warfare.
Mr. Locke, I'm not saying that people live in a world of greed and warfare. It's just that happens to be just because people are bad at their core, you know?
Okay. Now, based on these personal philosophies, how do you think you should govern a country?
Mr. Beccaria, I just want to make it clear and reinstate my previous point. People are not good to start out with. We can't trust anyone nowadays. So a strong governing power is usually beneficial to the people.
Now, I hear what you're saying, Sir Hobbes, but people are not bad in nature. People like to live in freedom and equality with the ability to own property. In order for these people to maintain their rights, a government is needed to secure and protect them.
Okay. Now I want to ask, what should happen if this government fails to maintain these rights? Do you want to? We'll go back to you, Locke, for this one.
Certainly. You know, Beccaria, the relationship between the government and the people has to be 50-50. If the government is not doing their job in maintaining the rights of their people, the people have all the right in the world to act and rebel against the government. But in order for the government to maintain their rights, the people have to act reasonably to new and proposed ideas of the government.
Mr. Locke, you see, in terms of successfulness, similar to yours, is 1 to none. Mine's just perfect. But in a completely hypothetical situation that the government system would fail, there is a built-in failsafe, a sort of security. Due to somewhat democratic nature, if a leader has too much power, his peers, his people, can fight against it, thus keeping the system balanced. It's a flawless social construct.
Okay. Now, as some of you may know, I recently published a book called On Crimes and Punishments. In it, I talk about my opinion on how people should be punished for their crimes, and I was wondering, what are your guys' opinions on how someone should be punished? Do you agree or disagree with capital punishment? Things like that.
Well, Beccaria, I honestly think that crime should be responded with appropriate punishment. I do believe in capital punishment, and that the ruler should be able to dictate punishments such as capital punishment or punishments similar. That is not to say that people can't have a fair trial, but it can still be overruled by the ruler if they deem it necessary.
Now, in nature, there are laws that govern it. So, a government, there should be a judicial branch that of the government that sets laws set for different outcomes for different crimes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're now going to take a brief break and a word from our sponsor, leading right into our next debate of the night.
Hi there, my name is Johann Gutenberg, and I'm here tonight to show you a revolutionary new piece of technology that will change the way that you read forever. The movable type style of the past you once knew is gone. Compared to our new printing press, that might as well be cavemen scratching on a wall or something. With our innovative metal casting system to synthesize both letters and characters, production has never been faster or easier. Call 555-555-PRINT to get any work of your choosing printed now. And if you call within the next 25 minutes, you can even get your first order 25% off with a free, that's right, free copy of our very own Gutenberg Bible. Now back to the debate. Thanks so much for having me tonight, guys.
Hello, and welcome back to Coffee House Debate. Our next debate is between Wollstonecraft and Rousseau. So, I know you're both very opinionated on this topic, and was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing with us how you guys feel about gender equality. And I'll start off with you, Rousseau.
To be honest here, Beccaria, I think that gender equality has no place in society. My opinion is that man should be able to acquire the best education that he wants in order to build his intellect. On the other hand, though, women really just need to know the basic stuff. The fact is, women just can't do the same things that a man can. So they don't need the same resources and education as a man does. They really are just inferior to men.
I find your remarks very degrading towards women. Your ideas, they're just preposterous. Women are just as capable as men, and they should be presented with the same resources. Women deserve both equality and education. No matter what you think, women can do whatever a man can. We aren't naturally inferior, as Rousseau states.
Okay. Now, Rousseau, I know you recently released a book called Discourse on the Arts and Sciences. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on what that means for all the listeners out there that maybe don't know?
Yeah, sure thing. You see, I think that many people believe that man is bad and corrupt in their core, but I actually do not think that this is the case. I think that humans are actually born good and happy, but instead, society corrupts them and turns them into the horrible people that we see today. Without this corruption from civilization and society, I think that people would remain good and pure as they are when they're born.
Okay. Now, Wollstonecraft, I know that you also have your own views on this sort of enlightenment. Would you mind sharing them with us here today?
No, not at all, Beccaria. I believe that people are equal and they should be treated equally since everyone possesses reason. As long as people have reason, they deserve the same rights as everyone else. I think that men believe that women are inferior just because women don't have the same tools accessible to them, like education. And because of this, men think of women as lower and not deserving of the same level of equality as men.
Wow, this is a great debate, and those are both great opinions. Now, I want to ask you, how do you think each gender should be educated? And we'll start off with you, Wollstonecraft.
Education is very important to civilization and society. For me, everyone should be educated equally and to the same extent, no matter the gender or age. Each person's mind is capable of the same, but unfortunately, in today's society, it seems that only men are reaping the benefits of education, while women have education that is confined and restricted.
Yes, I agree that men are reaping the benefits of education, but this is only because men need to be educated in order to accomplish great things in our lifetime. Since women don't need to make any grand accomplishments in their lifetime, they don't require the same education. I think that women should still receive some form of education in order to complete what they need to complete, but these things that they need to complete only take place in their everyday lives.
Well, that was a great debate and a great episode of Coffee House Debate. Thank you all so much for listening, and a special great thanks to our guest debaters. Don't forget to go to www.muchoepic.com to vote for who you think won. We're going to send you off with one last word from our sponsors. I'm Cesar Beccaria, and have a great Mucho Epico night.
You could really see things heating up on that debate tonight. Speaking of sight, are your eyes too weak on their own? Do you have trouble seeing things that are super far away? Well, fear not. I'm Galileo, and I'm here right now to talk to you about my fantastic new product. My telescope might just look like any old eyeglass, but it is in no way old or just an eyeglass. This groundbreaking piece of tech has a range of magnifications from 8 times for the average navigator or sailor to 20 times for an aspiring or practicing astronomer trying to gaze upon the craters of the moon. Have you ever wanted to peer into the rings of Saturn? We gotcha. Do you want to see all the spots on the sun? We can do it with zero responsibility for any blindness. Call 555-520-5765 now and get a telescope of your very own.